Hi, my name's Alex Pratt. This is the first column that I'm recording for you today. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is drawn from my book, Austerity Business, which is all about how we manage to make the best of what are very different trading conditions these days. So I thought I'd start with people, because people really are really classically important to every business. But there is a myth associated with people that they are your best asset. And so I'd like to suggest to you, first off, that people are not your best asset. And the reason that I say that, and the reason this is important, is that if people are your best asset, if you think about that for a moment, if you worked for me and you were my asset, that's what we used to call slavery. And of course, these days, that does run somewhat contrary to the Human Rights Act. So slavery is not what the deal is. If you work for me, you are your own asset, and therefore I rent that asset. Now, you might think that that's a bit of a semantic difference, but actually it's classically important. It's really, really important to understand the difference. Because if you think about it, if you own an asset, your investment approach is very different to an asset that you lease. Say, for example, if you were to rent a house, you would not be that inclined to stick a new kitchen in the house. But if you owned that house, you may very well stick a new kitchen in. So the way in which you invest in assets is fundamentally dependent on whether you own the asset or not. Now that's really important, because what it means is when we're renting assets, namely when we're employing people, that's human assets, human capital, it becomes fundamentally important to employ those assets that have been well invested in by the people that own the assets. So going back to my analogy, I'd like to rent a flat from someone who looks after it. It's not damp, that has been repainted, that has got low energy lighting and things like that. And it's the same with people. So this cuts to what should you do about it. And my advice would be, and this is how we operate in my business now, the fundamental question to ask of any potential employee is to try and uncover their propensity to invest in themselves. Are they someone who will invest in themselves? Are they someone that will worry you daily by continually wanting to get better at what they do and to go on training courses? So the big question to ask and to uncover is whether or not they are likely to invest in themselves. And if you employ a team who invest in themselves, then, as we all know, that team, which is ultimately what drives any success in a business, the ability of the team to play well and how good we are against competition, that team will thrive without you having to try and pull people into doing the right thing. So, critical question. Firstly, get in your mind, are people my asset or not? If you buy the fact that they're not your asset, then fundamentally make sure that they're likely to invest in themselves. Do that and you'll succeed.